It's easy to get stuck reaching for the same familiar fruits and vegetables, even when you know a colorful variety is key. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggie supplements don't replace fruits and vegetables, but it makes it easy to add more variety to what you already eat. With 31 ingredients that are whole fruits and vegetables, switching it up is easy because we've already taken care of the hard part. Go to balanceofnature.com and get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first set as a new preferred customer by using discount code POD.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The House, the Senate, and the White House.
Kamala has a question.
I'm wondering what you say to Republicans and critics of what the Democrats are doing, arguing that, look, the bottom line is if Democrats in the Senate voted for the CR, the government would reopen. That's the fact. And they're using Americans as leverage in a crisis of their own making. That's what Republicans argue. They say, look, the Democrats came up with the ACA. The Democrats came up with this expiration date for the subsidies. And now this is, a crisis of their own making, and they're holding Americans hostage, basically.
The Democrats will tell you that they're feeling emboldened. They're feeling emboldened because they had a few blue state election results. It does not change the fact that they have walked their party off a cliff with no parachute and no path forward. The reason we're stuck right now is because of one simple fact. If they vote to reopen the government, the Senate Democrats are afraid that the radicals in their party will say that they caved. They're afraid of the retribution that will come from that. But if they keep the government shut down, they know very well, as we all do, that millions of Americans will continue to suffer as essential services remain unfunded and paychecks to federal workers continue to stay stalled. So our question for Democrats this morning is this: which constituency matters more? The loud radicals in your party or the hardworking American people?
Is that a question? We already know the answer. Welcome, my friends. Saturday Morning Vibe is here. If you would like to be part of the program this morning, join us on the Saturday Morning Vibe. You can do so. Just give us a call. 800-848-9222 is how you reach it. 848-9222 is how you reach it. How you reach us here, and be happy to take some of your calls. If you are calling from one of our new affiliates, and we are growing like crazy all the time, please let Rod know when you take your call. Hey, you're new on our station, and let us know. Especially, I have a great friend down in Delmarva, the talk of Delmarva, serving in Maryland near Ocean City. All that. My good friend Jake Smith and I have been chatting. I was going to try to join him very quickly on his show, but I couldn't pull it off yesterday. But we're glad to have all of you from the Talk of Delmarva here today. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. And so much to discuss. Overnight, we've had major developments, folks. The Supreme Court, and this was a shock, a shocker, because of who on the Supreme Court issued the ruling. It is no other than Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who overnight, late yesterday, temporarily halted a lower court that would have required the Trump administration to fund food stamps in full. This is another activist judge, this Judge McConnell, in the lower court's ruling, hey, you have to fund SNAP in its entirety, as if this judge has knowledge of all of the inner workings of the executive branch and has the powers of the president in running the executive branch. It is clearly a judicial overstep, and was. It's annoying that these things keep coming up. There are more today. We've had another judge rule, by the way, that Donald Trump cannot permanently ban Donald Trump from deploying ICE, National Guard deployments to protect ICE in Portland, Oregon. That has to be appealed. Appeal hopefully will be on the way. But this one, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson halted that lower court order that said you have to fully fund SNAP immediately, without saying, of course, where the money's supposed to come from. They're dealing with a contingency fund over to make it stretch during this Democrat Party shutdown of the government. They were giving half payments and partial payments in some cases. Of course, New York leaders, one of them, Letitia James, among the states that sued for this, are saying it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York, who's running scared these days of being challenged by Elise Stefanik. Stefanik has announced she is going to run for governor of New York. Trump doesn't care if millions of Americans go hungry. It's her party that shut everything down. It is Chuck Schumer, her senators in her state, her Senator Chuck U. Schumer, and the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, two Democrats from New York that have plunged this nation into the shutdown crisis. Day 39. We're approaching 40 days of shutdown. And this is all coming out of New York. Well, the Democrat Party as a whole, but the leadership is in New York. And so for Kathy Hochul to keep blaming Trump, Democrats shut this down. Now, senators are actually working this weekend. This is the first weekend since the shutdown began almost 40 days ago that United States senators have stayed in town to actually try to work. And we have, this proposal that Chuck Schumer put up yesterday, NBC News has story. Democrats make new offer to end the shutdown, but Republicans aren't buying it. The offer, crafted by Gary Peters, Democrat of Michigan, and championed by Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, would also extend expiring health care subsidies for a year. Schumer said it's a very simple compromise. The reason it's a reasonable offer reopens the government, deals with health care affordability, begins the process of negotiating reforms for ACA tax credits in the future. Now the ball is in Republicans' court. We just need the Republicans to say yes. The answer is hell to the no. Oh, hell no. You people held the government hostage to try to get your way. There is no way that Republicans had better cave into this. John Thune called the Democrat offer a non-starter. Good. I have other words for it besides non-starter, but that's it. The Obama care extension is the negotiation. That's what we're going to negotiate once the government opens up. And that's what they've been saying all along. So this proposal is just saying, okay, just say we won and we'll open it back up. No, we're not going to give into the Senate the position should be and rightly is no. We're not giving in to your hostage demands. Open up the government with a clean CR. The CR that we're talking about, folks, it is not even well publicized. The CR that Democrats voted against, this clean CR, was written by Chuck Schumer. The CR that Republicans put up to vote on was written by Senate Minority Leader Chuck U. Schumer during the Biden years. And Republicans said, okay, we'll vote for it. Let's just keep the government open. So they put Schumer CR back up to him, and all of a sudden Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, the entire Democrat Party says, no, we want a government shutdown. This was Schumer's CR. It is Schumer's shutdown. And there is no way. And this guy, Gary Peters, I'm willing to compromise, he said, but our Republican colleagues have to be willing to compromise too. No, they don't. They don't have to compromise and negotiate with political terrorists. And that's what the Democrat Party has become. A bunch of political terrorists and political terrorists. Choosing those words very carefully. Political terrorists. And if you think they're not terrorizing people, what's going on at the nation's airports today, and it is getting worse, is horrible. What's going on with some people and their inability to access their EBT. Serious. Head Start programs in some places have been curtailed. That has left upset. But more to that, the idea that we don't have a government path for paying our United States military is shameful. For the government employees that have been furloughed, including air controllers, TSA people. Remember, Democrats gave us TSA in the aftermath of 9/11, the terrorist attacks. They demanded a government solution to airport security. We have it. And now the Democrats won't pay these people. Democrats itched to the 9th degree when Ronald Reagan wouldn't stand for the hostage taking on air traffic controllers. What do we have now? Democrats refusing to pay air traffic controllers. Everything these people do is full of hypocrisy and delivers misery to the American people. And they're unashamed to keep doing it. Later on, Princess Diana will be here. Princess Diana and I have 4 things we're going to try to get to. One of them is this Obamacare business that is behind, supposedly, Democrats shutting down the government. And that, again, all Democrats. Democrats during the holiday season, after Obama took over, following holiday season, they actually signed that thing, snuck it through on Christmas Eve. No Republican votes. 0. They didn't want Republican input. In fact, there was a meeting with Republicans, and Obama arrogantly and brazenly told Republicans, hey, we lost the election. No, you lost the election. Shut up. You don't have a say in this. They created this mess. And yet they're shutting down the entire government to try to protect the mess and to protect their party brand. Democrats cause misery. And that they are inflicting their misery all over America. As I said, coming up later in the program, Princess Diana is going to join us. Coming up later in the program, Lizzie Radabali will be here. Coming up later in the program, we're expecting to hear from America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, as well.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, Snerdley here with you. When we do take, in fact, you know what? Because we have telephone calls that want to talk about the Mondami victory in New York. I want to take a few of those. We have not talked about the elections yet on this program, the election results. So I want to grab a call. We'll start with that. Let's go in New York to Fran. Fran, welcome. How are you?
Hey, buddy. I live on Long Island. I'm very happy that I live in the safest county in the country. And it's not too hard. If you obey the law and let the police do their job, it'll work out. Now, to get to this creep, this Creed Mondami, I pray to God, and I hope we hold him to this. This man should not get a police detail. I don't care if the mayor, the governor, I don't care if they deserve it because they won. He won fair and square. I give him that. We had de Blasio, the worst governor in the country's history.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, mayor. I apologize, mayor. I'm a little pumped. The worst mayor ever. So this guy, first of all, he'll do what he's got to do, but this guy should never get a police detail. He should get social workers to follow him around and to help protect him with no weapons.
Now, for those of you around the country that are wondering why Fran is saying he should have social workers, Mr. Mondami, one of the proposals that he has is that he does not want police to respond to incidents involving people that have mental health disorders. He would rather have social workers on those calls. Now, if you are a social worker and you get a telephone call, ring, 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 hey, we got some guy that's nuts, and he's out and he's threatening people and he's doing, can you please go and talk to that guy? Any social worker in their right mind that knows crazy is going to say, you're out of your mind. I'm not going to respond to that. It is a harebrained idea. But, Fran, I get your point, but let's just be realistic. Let's be realistic. No, he's going to have, it's just like Brandon Johnson in Chicago. Brandon Johnson in Chicago rails about the police, has railed about the police. The police are pretty much the enemy in Chicago, as is most law enforcement for Democrat Party. Do you know, Fran, how big the security detail is for Mayor Brandon Johnson? Do you have an idea?
I can only imagine it's probably as many people as like a professional football team. The bottom line
he has a 150-person security detail.
You know that. Listen. They are the best cheaters, con men, and scams in the country. They are horrendous. They win elections. I don't even care if it's Democrat states. They're evil. Everything they put. How can you say that ICE is evil? They have criminals on the ground to be arrested. Guys that rape kids.
They're saying ICE is evil. We have more ICE stories today, and the media is helping with the ICE stories to create this impression that ICE is a rogue agency. It has full mainstream media support in some cases.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Talking about New York, I just want to give you something. One thing that came to mind the other day when I was listening to Mondami's remarks. A few things. The elections, there's no need for Republicans to despair, period. Of course, we should be cognizant of the trends, why the other party wins. I think Virginia, frankly, and I've talked about it at length during the week, was a poorly run campaign, to be totally honest with you. I think that when you have a campaign that's continually focusing on bathrooms instead of the economy, it's a poorly run campaign. In the middle of a state where you have one of the largest concentration of government workers who at the time, and probably by design, have been out of work. You have a fired up base in Virginia. I think there was a mistake made not to focus heavily on economic issues and with an economic plan dealing with the economy of that state, which relies so heavily on federal workers. And look, I have nothing. Winston was on the program, Winston Earl Sears. I think, by the way, she needed a stylist. But that's a whole nother look, let's be frank. People look at pictures, people look at video, hire a stylist. Especially when you're running against someone that has apparently a stylist, and a pretty daggone good one. Even though your opponent had a horrible record that could have been exploited. In New Jersey, the other big race, Jack Ciattarelli, who we also had on this program, great candidate. Problem there, you had a major population shift out of New Jersey. 250,000 people left New Jersey between the last time he ran and this time. And apparently, according to Ron DeSantis, a lot of those people ended up going to Florida and they're Republicans. So he had part of his base that left the state, couldn't vote for him. Big deal. And then you had, of course, New York. New York. Let's face facts. A three-way race, which could have been for most of the campaign. It was a four-person race with the failed mayor, Eric Adams, the Republican Curtis Sliwa, and then this last-minute entry by Andrew Cuomo, who took 10 days off in September to do whatever he did, but not campaign, and Mamdani. And Mamdani's offering everybody free stuff. He's going to fix everything by giving them stuff. And anybody surprised what happened there? Really? Really? So you had those things going on. Then one of the things that he said, well, we'll get to what he said. Yes, let's play. Cut 17. This is one of the... Go ahead. One of the things that he said during his...
There is no
speech.
problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Play that one more time, please, Elias.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Now, my friends, almost 30 years ago, we had a president, a Democrat, who was trying to chart a new pathway for his party. In the 1996 State of the Union, the President of the United States said this.
The era of big government is over. But we cannot go back to the time when our citizens were left to fend for themselves. Instead, we must go forward as one America, one nation, working together to meet the challenges we face together. Self-reliance and teamwork are not opposing virtues. We must have both.
Boy, this guy was such a con artist, wasn't he? This guy could sell snow to an Eskimo. Don't mean anything in indigenous. I'm sorry. Let me retract that remark. This guy could sell snow to the indigenous people of the North Pole. It's amazing. The era of big government is over, and here we are today with a government larger than ever. 42 million people now relying on food sustenance, supposedly, although we know some of them use it for other things, from the federal government. All kind of bazillions of dollars going into programs like Head Start. We have housing subsidies out the wazoo. We have other government subsidies and grants that are pouring out at light speed. In fact, there was a deal today made, or last night announced by Cornell in New York. They agreed to actually pay the federal government $30 million, but basically so that they could get back on the gravy train with government grants. This government has gotten not just bigger since that 1996 pronouncement, but exponentially bigger. Right now, you have Donald Trump and his administration involved on trying to pare down the size of some of the government, But even if they pare it down all they want, it's still going to be much bigger than the government that Bill Clinton left when he declared the era of big government is over. The era of big government may be over, but the era of gigantic, out of control government is well underway. And Mamdani, there's nothing too big or too small. A call for even more socialist government. This is how far that Democrat Party has moved. They don't even bother with the pretense or pretext of good government anymore, of a somewhat efficient, streamlined government. Nope, nothing too big, nothing too small for government to deal with. By the way, I made a suggestion as for what ought to happen in Maryland, what ought to happen in Virginia. One of the things, if I were the Trump administration, they've talked about it, I would put it on the fast track, is relocating as many federal government agencies out of Washington, D.C. as humanly possible. You have these enclaves of government workers in Maryland and in Virginia. Move the jobs. Get the USDA. What is the USDA doing in Washington, D.C.? Move it. Move it to Montana. Move it to Nebraska. Move it to Wyoming, for goodness sakes. The IRS, I was mentioning this to Princess Diana. Princess Diana said, put the IRS in Alaska. Make Alaska the headquarters of the IRS. Yes. Export the government agencies out of Washington, D.C., put them in the country that they serve. We have planes when the Democrats don't shut down. Even when the Democrats do shut down, we have a fleet of government planes that the high and mighty government folks fly on. They're unaffected by the shutdown. Nancy Pelosi used to get one of those and do a whole entourage on her little private government plane. So you can have government agencies. We have Zoom. We have all kind of robust video meeting softwares. There's no reason to have the government, all of this concentration of government agencies in Washington, D.C. Move them out and move some of these people out of these states and into other states.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, I want to head back to the telephones. We have a call. Anne-Marie is calling in from Pennsylvania. Welcome, Anne-Marie. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you, James?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, I have a quick question. I want to know, we are so worried about what Mamdani is going to do to New York. Am I right?
Depends on who's we, because frankly, I'm not worried. Worry is not what I have. I am not worried.
But we are concerned about what's going to happen to New York. Am I correct?
Again, it depends on who you call we. I am looking on with amusement and opportunity.
Okay, more of the Republicans, right? More of
Okay, let me ask you, are you worried what's going to happen to New York?
Yes.
Okay, are you concerned about what's going to happen in New York?
Yes, 100%.
Why?
Because number one, I am a real.
Number one.
So I need to protect myself also. I mean, it's normal that you don't want the greatest state of the world to go down to nothing just because this guy is actually running for what he said he was running. No police, no this, no that. You know, we know already where he was running for.
Anne-Marie, let me ask you a simple question.
Yes.
Let me ask you one question.
Sure.
Do you think that all this stuff that he promised people, all this free stuff, you think they're going to get all this free stuff?
No, I don't think so. But
okay,
you know what?
Hold it. Do you think that social workers are going to willingly go out and deal with crazy folks and people that could take their lives without even knowing they're in their own mind? Do you think that social workers are going to go volunteer to go out on calls that even well-trained police officers would hesitate to go out, but they have to? Do you think that social workers are going to volunteer, raise up their hand and say, oh, okay, let's go deal with the crazies? Do you think that that's going to actually happen?
No, I don't think it's going to, James. But I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to know why. Okay, when Trump was becoming a president, when he was doing all the talk and everything, the regular daily news, like ABC, NBC, and all of that, right? They were all over, and they would shut him up when he was saying something. They would pick up a couple of words. All right, all of that to make Trump look really bad. Am I right? Now, why they're not teaching the people that this guy is running for these things? It's not like he's hiding it. It's not like we're assuming.
Why do you think? The answer's right. You're answering your own question. Because they think like he thinks. Who are we talking about here? We're talking about the Trump deranged syndrome leaders of America. They work in the mainstream media.
Right. So do they live in New York? If this guy's going to say...
Wait a minute. Oh, okay, I get your point. Do they live in New York? Right. Do you think these people are going to go hungry?
No, I'm not thinking they're going to go hungry.
Do you think that some of these big media figures are going to walk outside and feel threatened and not have their own security force around them?
No, but if in case...
Do you think they're going to ride on the subway? Do you think they're going to ride on the free buses?
So actually you're saying they don't care?
It doesn't affect them. Those are the poor people. Those are the other people. They live very well in New York. And if things get too dicey in New York, they'll just hop their limo and go to the Hamptons or go somewhere else. They're not going to be affected by what the riff-raff class has to go through. Are you kidding? They're the elite. They are elite liberals.
My God.
They're what Ronald Reagan used to call the limousine liberals. They don't get affected by this stuff.
Yeah, but they still live in New York. They still have to put up with a lot of crap that this guy's saying, defunding the police. There's going to be a lot of crime.
They get in their cars and they travel out.
Yeah.
They get their buildings are protected.
Wow. Well,
are you kidding me?
We're going to have to wait and see what happens. But honestly,
Anne-Marie, I'm going to tell you something. I wish you would stop worrying. Don't worry. I mean, I think people should be concerned. Here's what I'm looking forward to. I see all of this as an opportunity. The first day that he's elected, if the Republican Party was smart, they wait. He gets inauguration January 1st. On January 3rd, 4th, 5th, I'd start putting up billboards all over New York. Where's my free stuff? Where are the free buses? Where's my $30 minimum wage? Everything that this guy promised, I throw it right back in their faces. Look, do we have time, Elias? We already have Kathy Hochul weaseling. Let's just check in. And this is Kathy Hochul. She was asked about this on CNN.
Elections, and they will be there next November. Not just in New York City, but all across New York, where Democrats won all over New York State.
So can I ask you about these policies where you differ? Because it's going to matter for New York State and for your bid to remain governor. And when you talked again about distinguishing yourself in terms of your views from those of Mamdani and yourself as a moderate, right? His agenda is incredibly ambitious. It is, as he has described it, a democratic socialist agenda. Free childcare, free buses, rent freeze. The list goes on. I talked to him on Monday night. He said to me he hasn't wavered 1 millimeter on raising taxes on New York City's wealthiest residents to pay for some of that. Now, Governor, you have said repeatedly that you would not raise taxes. You said, quote, I've said there's no new income taxes. Do you stand by that promise?
Yes.
All right,
Again.
Stop it right there. Yes, I'm not raising taxes. Folks, this is going to be fun. There's no other word to describe it. If he doesn't raise taxes, how's he going to get all this free stuff? And Hochul, are you not going to raise it? Do you stand by it, not raise it? Yes. She's got Elise Stefanik breathing down her back right now. Our number uno on the can, our number duo coming up.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends. The Saturday Morning Vibe. Our number duo has arrived. Our number duo means one thing. It is time to check in with Red Apple Media's star anchorette. Our very own anchorette supremo, Lizzie Radabali. Good morning, Lizzie.
Good morning, Bo. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing great. I just had to call Lizzie, woman upset the elections. You know, she's from Pennsylvania, but she's worried about what's going on in New York. People all over the country have been talking about this election of Mamdani. And I had a soundbite that I saw. I told you before. I think about you all during the week. Stories come up. I say, I wonder what Lizzie's going to say about. I wonder what Lizzie would say. I wonder what Lizzie would say. Lizzie, I found one, and what struck me, this young woman is about your age. She's young. And still enjoying the bloom, the flower of youth.
Ah, yes.
Okay? And she has been impacted by some of the things that have happened in New York. She's a New Yorker. And she drives into Manhattan, which is how some liberal people pronounce Manhattan. Have you ever noticed that? Manhattan.
I've never heard that.
They say Manhattan. It's like they say Clinton, instead of Bill Clinton, Clinton.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a transplant thing.
No. It's like, but come on, Lizzie, you're from Long Island.
Yeah, well, see, we have a different way of doing things out there.
Okay. So, but this woman drives to Manhattan. And, well, we'll just listen. And I want to know what advice you would give this young woman. And let me preface it by saying New York implemented one of these radical leftist schemes. It's a money grab, congestion pricing, supposedly to combat, climate, whatever. And it's a big money grab. So you can't drive in certain parts of the city without facing fines. And this young lady is going to recall or recount her experience.
I just got a $600 bill in the mail from the congestion toll pricing from driving in New York. I've been driving in the city for years, at least 5-6 years, and I refuse to take public transportation because I've been assaulted twice on public transportation. The Uber prices are absolutely insane, and there just has to be a solution to this. Like, I can't go on. It's not safe. Like, public transportation is not safe. I'm not going on there. Like, no. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, I've been assaulted twice. Like, why would I go on public transportation again? So now I have to pay the price, $600, just to drive from Midtown to downtown? It's gotta end. Needs to end.
What do you think, Lizzie?
Well, first of all, that's not going to happen under Mayor-elect Mamdani. So she better, pack up and move. I don't know. Like, move downtown is the option that she has because, congestion pricing, it's been here for now almost like a full calendar year. Honestly, a lot of people in Manhattan, especially lower Manhattan, the business district as it's called, the central business district that's anywhere below 60th Street in Manhattan, a lot of people are fans of it. A lot of people say it's improved life. You don't have a lot of traffic anymore. People honking the horns. I mean, noise pollution is a problem more than any other pollution in Manhattan. It's just constantly. You're never alone with your thoughts. You're never enjoying the silence of the city. It's constantly just something going on, horns beeping, jackhammers humming. So the congestion pricing, the verdict from a lot of New Yorkers has been fairly good. I mean, a lot of people
so let me just translate what I'm hearing here. Lizzie has no sympathy for you, babe. Pack up and get out. Get out. You don't like it? Get out. That's what Lizzie says.
If she's living in uptown Manhattan, I feel she could afford to move a few blocks downtown.
Get out.
It's not get out. It's just,
You just told her, Lizzie. You just told her to pack up and get out.
No, that's not what that's.
Or move downtown.
That I think is it's a mischaracterization of what I really believe is I think she should just, either suck it up. That's an option. B, find another way to get around by either moving, like I said, or, the public transportation. I think the boogeyman with the safety in public transportation, it's really overhyped. I mean, I take the subway.
She said she's been assaulted twice.
Yeah, and that's terrible. But, subway crime, any statistic will show you that it is dramatically down, especially when you look at pre-COVID numbers. Okay. We've experienced a huge drop in actual assaults and violent crimes on the subways. Of course, when you hear stories in the news about horrible assaults. I mean, I still remember that woman being burned alive on the subway.
That was pretty ugly.
Yeah, that was horrible. But, these stories are kind of, they're 1 in a million. I mean, not a million, but obviously the statistics.
Yeah, but if you're that one, it doesn't matter.
1,000%. But, you can't live your life just like constantly worried about being the victim. That's just how you become a miserable, depressed human being, I think. And that's how you prevent actual community and connection, with your fellow human beings is you get so worried like, oh, everyone's out to get me. If I take the subway, I'm going to be assaulted again. I just think that's a horrible way to live her life. And I think what she really needs to do is seek therapy.
Okay, gotcha. Go get a therapist, honey.
Yeah, seriously.
Or pack up and move out.
Move downtown. You don't have to move out. Just move downtown within the central business district. Greenwich Village. It's a nice place. That's not.
Okay. Lizzie, we gotta move on. Just poor girl. Just get a therapist and move out. Kim Kardashian, speaking of therapists, stop it. She failed a law exam apparently, huh, Lizzie?
Yeah, well, so we know Kim Kardashian we talked a little bit last week about the NPR, about the former IRS worker who's now working as a hot dog stand, and I spoke about second acts. Kim Kardashian is now trying to initiate her second act. She's been a reality star. We've seen her on the screens, and now she's been doing a lot of acting recently, but being a star altogether seems to be in the past for her. What the future holds for her is being a trial lawyer. That is her dream. She says, maybe in 10 years, I think I'll give up being Kim K and just be a trial lawyer. But Kim Kardashian, she's been doing these law exams. She's been in law school for the past 6 years. And
6 years?
6 years, yes.
6 years.
Everybody on their own timing,
wait a minute.
I guess.
I thought law school was like a 2-year deal.
Normally it is, but I guess.
Wait. Is it, so? Okay, so she's been in law school for 6 years.
Yeah, so she's been having a little trouble, and she's actually waiting on the results right now from her bar exam. But before she took her bar in law school, she failed several times. And do you want to know who the culprit who led her astray on these exams?
Who did it? Who did it?
Oh, it was ChatGPT, of course. That lying robot ChatGPT was the reason that Kim Kardashian says she failed a bunch of law exams.
How did people pass law exams before ChatGPT?
With their good old human brain, But she said in an interview, that she did with Vanity Fair, they do this lie detector test between two celebrities where one asks another a bunch of questions and they're like hooked up to a lie detector. So the whole premise is they have to tell the truth. So she said in this interview, how she's used ChatGPT in law school, and who's interviewing her, Tiana Taylor, her co-star in this new Ryan Murphy show, says that that's cheating. She says that's cheating. And Kim Kardashian's like, well, actually, it was always wrong. So, it wasn't really cheating. And then she asked the ChatGPT bot, she said, how does it make you feel that I really need to know these answers and I'm coming to you? And it says back to her, you just have to trust your own instincts. Now, what do you mean? I'm just trying to get into Kim Kardashian's headspace where she asks a robot, how do you feel? It's a robot. It does not feel anything, and it's lying to you. It's giving you the wrong answers. Why do you care about how this robot feels when it's the reason that you failed a bunch of law exams and now you're on year 6 of a 2-year program? I mean, not really a sign.
Well, good thing about it, how'd you like to be her client?
That's what I was just about to say. Not really a good sign for her legal career is exactly what I was just about to say. I would not want to be her client and sitting in a courtroom saying, oh my God, my lawyer is Kim Kardashian. I'm doomed. Lock me up. Take me away, judge. Throw away the key.
Paris residents can enter a lottery. And this lottery has a different, you're not going to win cash. Tell us what people win if they win this lottery that's going on in Gay Paris right now.
Well, it's a very contentious lottery. Instead of getting any cash or any, monetary reward, you'll actually be rewarded with a spot in one of France's cemeteries, in one of Paris's cemeteries. Now, a lot of the cemeteries within the city walls have been pretty much full since the 20th century. They filled up really quick. And part of this deal is that if you pay for the repairs of some plots who have, fallen in disrepair, you'll be able to get one of those sought after plots in one of the Paris cemeteries. Now, a lot of notable people, of course, are buried in these cemeteries, including Jim Morrison, Oscar Wilde, Edgar Degas in one. There's a bunch of different cemeteries within the city that you could qualify for, but yeah, you have to pay around $4,000 to restore these plots, and then you would get the plot itself, which runs around $1,000 for a 10-year contract and then $20,000 to be laid there in perpetuity. Now, the whole difference between the 10-year contract and the in perpetuity raised my eyebrows a bit, because I'm thinking, like, if you get the 10-year contract, but then you don't pay to be buried there in perpetuity, do they dig you up? I have to look into that and, reassign you a different plot. I don't know what the deal is with that. But, it's quite the racket that Paris is running, because even the registration fee for this contest is $144. So they're making some money.
I tell you, life in the big cities just isn't easy. I don't care what city you're in.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I want to just play something else. There's reaction from the left over, we're not going to play the whole thing, it's too long, over 28, cut 28, Elias. This is the kind of reaction that you see. The Karens are out, and the Karens are happy. The top Karens, I call them.
I didn't even realize how much I needed this. How much we needed this. I'm not even a voting New Yorker anymore, but seeing Mamdani win, I'm sobbing into my breakfast, because he just did what Kamala couldn't do, which is unite people across the spectrum of compassion. He was able to unite people on the grounds that there should be no more, and there will be no more space held for anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, for people absolutely being trampled on by billionaires and the 1% who are hoarding so much of our country's wealth, so much of our people's wealth, so much of our ability to live well, to afford groceries, to afford homes. I'm really good at coping. I'm really good at taking care of myself and of letting myself experience, news of the world without getting totally toppled by it all the time, without feeling angry all the time, because I have really...
Okay. Cut 29. Just here's another one. I can't take any more.
Oh my God, I'm walking the dog right now.
Oh my God.
I don't even live in New York. I'm so happy.
This just goes on.
Right now.
She's just.
I don't even live in New York. I'm so happy.
Okay. Kurt in Staten Island, New York. You are up. Good morning. How are you? Welcome to the Saturday Morning Vibe. How are you? Kurt? Well, Kurt's not answering. Let's head to Christine in Connecticut. How are you, Christine?
Well, good morning. You have me laughing, James. But, if you were an LGBT person and you voted for Mamdani, I don't want to hear anyone complaining about what's going to happen. After all, this guy has a photo with Kathleen Kadaga, the Deputy Prime Minister of Uganda. Oh, by the way, it's a 10-year prison sentence for just being yourself. And they got behind this communist. That makes no sense to me. And, you have him going after President Trump and calling him authoritative. But that's what communism is, James. It's all about control. And for him and Bernie Sanders to talk about the economy, there's no such thing as government funded. It's all us, the taxpayers. And the reality,
yes, of course it is. Well, did you hear Kathy Hochul say she's not going to raise taxes? So how's all this stuff going to get pulled off, I ask you?
Well, first of all, there's a better shot at me getting pregnant than to do what they want to do without raising taxes. Come on. We're in America, James, where about the only two groups of people better off today than a few years ago are illegal aliens and public sector employees.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay. Princess Di is coming on in the next hour, and Princess Di and I are going to, yesterday we had a beautiful chat. And by the way, last week, if you were here, Princess Di rocked. I'm still blown away by the profound analysis that she gave over young voters and what is driving the votes of the young, and how, by the way, their lot in life is very different than the lot in life that baby boomers faced, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing out of them. It was profound. But she and I are going to talk later about a few things, including Obamacare, including Arctic frost, and I might add there's developments today on Crossfire Hurricane. If you don't know the two of those were the campaigns waged under Barack Obama's administration against Donald Trump, and Arctic frost against the entire Republican Party using the legal system. So briefly, we'll get into those things. We're going to talk about shutdown, obviously, and some of the entitlements. I had some sound bites, and they're too long for me to do in the segments that we have with Diane. I want to give you a preview of some of the issues. I found one. Now this, folks, this one's a little lengthy. I got to warn you. But I want to play it because word is starting to get out. I monitor social media. I monitor regular media. I monitor everything. This guy's a social media influencer, young black guy. I'd never heard of him before. His name is Rob Smith, Cut 6. And I just want you to listen to this, what he is saying about what's going on with health care, which is, by the way, the central argument that Democrats have raised in their hostage-taking of the American government to shut it down over these premium increases that are headed toward Obamacare. So this is a social media influencer. His name is Rob Smith, and his assessment.
Democrats are shutting down the government not to help the American people, but to make sure that the insurance companies that they're still in bed with continue to get taxpayer dollars. And I gotta tell you this because this was crazy when I figured this out. Did you know that literally 68% of all political donations made by the health insurance companies go to Democrats? So 68% of all of these political contributions go to Democrats. Now, we have seen all of this stuff before because the insurance companies have collected over $500 billion in taxpayer-funded subsidies over the past couple of years. And if you've been paying a lot of attention, we saw a lot of this with something like the USAID scandal, where we figured out that all of these NGOs and these left-wing nonprofits and all of these media companies were literally getting taxpayer dollars. This is the exact same thing that is happening with the healthcare system right now. So the Democrats make sure that taxpayer dollars continue to fund the healthcare systems, and then the healthcare systems use that same money to funnel back into Democrats so that they can fund the left-wing activism that is destroying this country. And it is crazy to me that this is still happening, but it is. So every time the government is shut down, every time you see them having a standoff, every time you see, Hakeem Jeffries running around the cable news or Jasmine Crockett shaking her wig, talking about how they're fighting for the American people, they're not. They're fighting for the insurance companies because they all want a piece of the money that is our taxpayer dollars that is going to them and being funneled right back to the Democrat Party. So look. Once again, the insurance company is crying wolf, literally demanding another taxpayer-funded relief, more taxpayer dollars coming to them where they are still getting record profits. This is
that's enough of that.
Insane.
We got it. Now, let me say, this guy, I don't know whether he ever listened to Rush Limbaugh, but if he did, then he's echoing the exact scam that Rush spent hours detailing on his show about the money laundering that runs from the Democrat Party through some of these institutions. When Rush started talking about this stuff, it was in relation to the money that Democrats were getting from groups like the National Teachers Association. And he explained the scam this way. And this goes, by the way, it's not just it's not just with Obamacare and the insurance companies. Use the same model as you look at who funds the Democrat Party. For instance, the National Teachers Association. What happens? They donate millions of dollars to Democrat Party. What does the Democrat Party do? When Democrats are in office, they reward the teachers' unions with humongous contracts. And in some cases, if you look at how these states are now in trouble with their pension funds, you'll see who they're in trouble, why they're in trouble, because they have loaded up these pension funds in favor of the very parties the very interests that fund the Democrat Party. So they drive their cities and their local to the point of bankruptcy in some cases, or financial hardship, so that they could keep funding the very people, the very institutions that donate money back to them. It's a money laundering scam all the way. You look at not just the teachers. Look at what happens with some of the unions, other than the teachers' unions, and their relationship with the Democrat Party. You will see where the payoff lies. Yeah, look at health care. Look at the way the Democrat Party is funded, and all these interest groups that fund the Democrat Party. Look at the donations. Look at Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood, the abortion mills, the genocide facilities across America, who, by the way, have a lot of locations in minority neighborhoods. Just saying. I mean, the original goal of Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, was to get rid of black people because she thought they were inferior. Eugenics. This is where the precursor to Nazism was eugenics. And that's Margaret Sanger. And that's the people that run Planned Parenthood to this day. Right? Anyway, they get tons of government money. They're in court constantly because now Republicans are trying to cut that spigot of money off for them. And they're suing. They believe they have almost a constitutional right for it. Who do they donate to? It's certainly not Republicans. Where does the money come from? Democrats get in power. They reward their allies with money. Their allies reward them with campaign donations. It's a circle jerk that has really helped to put this country in peril in so many ways. And so this guy figured it out with the health care, but this has been talked about now for the decade since Rush Limbaugh started talking about these relationships and how this money laundering scheme runs between the Democratic Party and all these other entities. And yes, include the NGOs, include the money that was going for public broadcasting. It's the same scenario over and over and over again. And that is why they are so threatened, because Donald Trump and this administration are interrupting it. Let's go to shutdown really quickly. 24. This was an interview done at Newark Airport. And by the way, what's happening at Newark is happening at airports all around the country. This is the Democrat Party shutdown at work.
This morning, I want you to listen to this one person that we spoke to. She talked about the nightmare she dealt with last night and then again this morning.
In the middle of the night, Air Canada just canceled my trip. They rebooked me, but I woke up to get to Newark, New Jersey, and I'm in an Uber. As soon as I step into the Uber, I pull up the new itinerary. You're not anticipating to be rebooked all the way at JFK. An hour earlier than the flight I was on here.
So what are you going to do?
I'm renting a car. I have to be back in Utah by Tuesday, and from what I hear with the counters, the airline counters, and TSA, they literally said to me, if I were you, I wouldn't travel over the next 3 days.
And who said that to you?
People at the TSA,
I see.
Clear, and the counters, the airline counters, because they think it's going to get worse.
And it is supposed to get worse. We have waits, and 40 major airports are affected. Over 1,200 flights yesterday. I don't have the number count yet for today, but people are having a very difficult time. Democrats did this, and they could care less that people are suffering because they still want their deal. Now, played this yesterday. I'm going to play it again today. Cut 2. This is why the Democrats are continuing this shutdown. Everything that they keep talking about, health care for blah, 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 it's all garbage. I have another word, but I can't use it. Begins with an S. The real reason that they are continuing the Schumer shutdown is explained by Senator Murphy from Connecticut, and this ought to be played every single place that is covering news of the Schumer shutdown. This is the reason we are now approaching day 40 of the government being shut down.
I think there will be some pretty substantial damage done to a Democratic brand that has been rehabilitated if on the heels of an election in which the people told us to keep fighting, we immediately stop fighting. If we surrender without having gotten anything and we cause a lot of folks in this country who had started to believe in the Democratic Party to retreat again, I worry that it will be hard to sort of get them back up off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle.
This has nothing to do about no damn health care premiums. It don't have nothing to do about, they have people hungry. They have people literally saying they are starving because the Democrat brand, and he says it, We just won some elections. People are starting to finally believe in us again. We can't open up the government now and look like we lost. People will not vote for us next year if we do that. We have to keep this going because our brand is if you are a SNAP recipient and you're worried about your meal, you are collateral damage. If you're a government worker and you're sitting without a paycheck now, going into 2 paycheck cycles like the air controllers, you people don't mean squat to Democrats. Screw you. You're collateral damage. If you are one of these people, your Head Start program just shut down, screw you too. The Democrat brand can't afford to lose because they want to win elections. And so screw your pain and screw you. You were never your premiums. You were never the center of this. This was all a power exercise for the Democrat Party, and this local weed admits there are probably Democrats so ticked off at this guy for actually spilling the beans on what's behind the Democrat shutdown. But, they've said it. Chuck Schumer said every day gets better for the Democrats. And you've heard other Democrats talk about how you are leverage. We can't lose the leverage. I don't care anything about you. This is all about them. Anyway.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
And that's your chance, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing we ask, get right to the points that you want to make. Don't even bother saying hello to me. I know you love me. I love you too. But we're interested in what you think. Right to your points. Let's start with Russ in White Plains, New York.
Hi, James. Trump elevates Zozo Mondami by paying so much attention to him and setting him up as the enemy. But Trump is bringing down the status of the U.S. in the eyes of the world better than any Marxist-Leninist could. Trump is an expression of the end of American empire. The politics of this country has vomited up Trump. I want to ask you, is a tariff against Canada for a Reagan Super Bowl commercial, is that a national security issue? And one other thing, James, real quick, what about this Heritage Foundation schism? Thanks a lot, James.
Okay, two things. I know that there's a schism over Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, and Kevin Roberts jumped in it. And to be honest with you, I haven't paid attention to it because I don't give a rat's behind about Nick Fuentes and his brand of whatever it is he's selling. And that's between them, and I'm too busy following the news. Trump is probably going to go down in history as one of the most amazing presidents in American history, despite his critics, like you just heard here. Everything is about Trump. In fact, Mondami's whining that Trump hasn't called him to congratulate him. So elevate Mondami? No, I don't think so. And the tariffs battle, that's going to be an interesting one for sure. And what he did with Douglas Ford ran those ads. He ran them specifically in Republican districts. And he ran ads that misstated Ronald Reagan's position on tariffs. Trump immediately whacked him back with some more tariffs. Yes. And you even had Mark Carney come out, the Prime Minister of Canada, and said, I told him not to run those ads. It was a political mistake. And he shouldn't have attacked America, and he shouldn't have tried to do election interference by running them in Republican-only districts. He meant to interfere with American politics. Canada got whacked for it. No apologies at all. Thank you for the call. Marilyn, New Jersey, you're up next. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi, good morning, James. I want to let you know some of the tactics that were used in New Jersey. I'm the only Republican in my household, and I started receiving publications in August from New Jersey Independent, which seemed somewhat benign at first, but in subsequent monthly publications, it repeatedly bashed Hider Ali, and it was completely left-wing, and it has an address of the American Independent in Washington, D.C., so I knew it was left-wing, but I'm sure other people were not as aware of that it was not actually an independent newspaper. And also I was receiving texts from various locations across the country, California and the Midwest, claiming such hardships, and I had to vote for Nikki Sherrill.
Interesting. I will tell you what. Number one, the population shift. And folks, take what Marilyn is saying here and just understand something. Republicans had better get their freaking ground game together if they are going. It's not just about this redistricting thing that's happening now. It's the ground game. And what Marilyn just described here is a consistent ground game from the Democrat Party to focus their energy on the seats that are important to them, including this governor's seat in New Jersey. This is why you need great political organization to execute the ground game. If you don't have a ground game, and that ground game just doesn't happen on election day, it's the months and weeks leading up to election day and election day. You have to be organized. Hour number duo in the can. Hour number trio coming up.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Our number trio is here. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. Our number trio means this.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
The goodness, the intellectualness, the highness, the royalness, the princess in the houseness. Welcome, Princess Diana.
Well, thank you, Sir James Ness. It's always wonderful to speak with you.
Well, and thank you. We're 2 days in a row. We're so fortunate. Yesterday, you and I had a conversation. I said, I want to talk about four things today. Obamacare. Elon Musk, if we have a chance, and the left is all beside themselves, pinching their undies and clutching their pearls over the fact that he may actually end up being one of the world's first trillionaires. And they're upset about that. I read he wants $1 trillion off the backs of people. Okay. Arctic frost and the SNAP benefits and the other federal entitlements. So let us begin, Princess Diana, with what Democrats claim is the central reason that they have taken the government hostage with their extortionist claims, and that is Obamacare premiums are set to rise. Obamacare, thus the Affordable Health Act.
Yes. I do think it's fascinating, James, that Obamacare, which has been a failure since day one, is now being used by the Democrat Party after having failed tremendously and publicly since 2009 when this was enacted. Now they're using the failure of Obamacare as a battering ram against the Republican Party, against Trump, against opening the government. They are actually essentially on strike. And if you recall, one of the things that when the Republicans were supposedly at fault for shutting down the government, the Democrats called them anti-government. The Republicans just hate the government, and so that's why they don't want to open the government. Well, the Democrats are basically boycotting the government. They're boycotting paying the military, the TSA. They're boycotting the social safety net. and they have become an obstructionist, do-nothing Congress. But the fact that the Obamacare was a failure since day one, as you had mentioned yesterday, was predicted by Rush Limbaugh from day one. And he had amazing things and prescient things to say, predicting exactly what had happened. And I look back at some of the things that he had said, and it's just genius brilliance. Here's a quote. Democrats single-handedly designed and built what amounts to a halfway house for socialized medicine. And it's now on fire. It's burning down as per the design. He said from the beginning, Rush said that Obamacare was designed to fail from its opening. It was designed to fail. Obama, and Rush quoted this, in a 2007 speech, 2 years before it was enacted, to the SEIU, the Service Employees International Union, told them essentially, it may take 10 to 15 years to get there. We have to condition the American people along the way. And that is exactly, now if you calculate 2009 when it was enacted, 15 years to get there, where the Obamacare would crash and burn and the American people would demand supposedly socialized medicine. That's where we are. We are now 15 years from that point when Obama actually predicted that he agreed with them. We need to get to single payer, but the American people won't accept it overnight. And so this was the method from the beginning, and Rush pointed it out. He also was on top of Jonathan Gruber's admission. I don't know if you remember this. He was one of the architects of Obamacare, and Rush reported at the time that after it was enacted, Jonathan Gruber said that this was only happened because of the relative ignorance of the American people. That's what Gruber called it. He said that he admitted the objective was to attempt it and to try it, but have it fail, and have the clamor for the American people being for single payer. So thank you, Rush Limbaugh, for explaining to us all. That's why we all knew, as Rush Limbaugh listeners, that this was never going to succeed, and it has gone down the tubes exactly how Rush predicted. And here we are again, yet again, having to subsidize, because it's unaffordable, despite its name of the Affordable Health Care Act. It is unaffordable. It was always unaffordable. It is, unsustainable, as Rush said many times. He also said, here's a quote, who were the supposed beneficiaries? The poor, the downtrodden, the sick. But that's not who benefited. Who benefited was the insurance companies. The federal government was subsidizing, making sure the insurance companies earned a profit. Politics is in everything. There's corruption in everything. And these insurance companies grew to love Obama and the Democrat Party. Hello. This is where we are right here, predicted by Rush Limbaugh over and over and over again. And so this is one of the things where all of us in the MAGA movement know, we see what we're seeing. We know what we're looking at. We know what the purpose of it, and that this was always a political battering ram by the Democrat Party. And here they are using it again to refuse to open the government.
And that analysis, everything, you sent us a soundbite, and is this a good time to play that soundbite? Yes. Okay, everything that Obama said about Obamacare, everything he said has turned out to be what? A lie.
It will actually reduce the deficit by $4 trillion over the long term. Reducing the waste and inefficiency in Medicare and Medicaid will pay for most of this plan. It will slow the growth of healthcare costs for our families, our businesses, and our government. There will be a provision in this plan that requires us to come forward with more spending cuts if the savings we promised don't materialize.
Every single thing they said to ram this through. And I want to remind people one more time, 2009. This was the season in 2009. We were all debating it, and it was on fire until when? Until December. What happened in December? People turned their attention away from politics and did what? Went out and bought Christmas presents, started putting up the Christmas lights and figuring out the Christmas plans. Government wasn't on strike, so they felt they could go travel someplace and visit their loved ones. Democrats stayed in Washington, D.C., which they rarely do. It was Christmas Eve. Everybody sitting around celebrating Christmas or wrapping gifts, doing whatever. What were Democrats doing? Democrats were shoving Obamacare down the American people's throats. They came up with the bill. Remember Nancy Pelosi's famous quote. They didn't give people time to read the bill. She said, you have to pass it and then figure out what's in it. That's what she said. Yep. Pass it and then figure out what's in it. They passed this plan on Christmas Eve with not one Republican vote. Democrats passed the extension that raised these subsidies, that now you have people that can afford to do their own health care being subsidized by the government. And now that they passed those during COVID, they use that as an excuse to pump more money into Obamacare. And now that they put a sunset on it. They're going to end in 2025. And now that they've ended, Democrats want to go on strike, shut down the government, do all this harm to America under the claim that they are hurting people if Obamacare premiums go up. They're the ones that call for them to end.
Yeah. Brilliant.
This is all a 100% scam on the American people.
Absolutely, James. And as Rush pointed out, the Obama administration blew up the stellar American healthcare system, and the lie was it was because of 10 to 12 million uninsured, and that is why they had to redo the whole healthcare system. And so here we are again. We are shutting down the government. The Democrat Party is holding us all hostage. And do you know, I found this out, I was stunned, from the Cato Institute, that only 7% of Americans use Obamacare. I couldn't believe it when I read that. I had this impression that this was widespread. This was everybody. These subsidies were going to be necessary for the American people not to be hungry and thirsty. And it is 7% of Americans. And so once again, for a very small number of people, relatively, they are blowing up the entire political system, and as they had done to blow up the entire healthcare system. So this is what their process is. 100% political. It is for power, raw power. There is nothing about the Democrats that cares one whit about the ordinary person, his health, his well-being, anything. It is all for power.
On that note, we will take a quick break. Princess Diana, stick around. When we get back, I'm going to talk about Snap for a minute.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Brooke Rollins, Secretary at USDA, had this to say, cut 13, about where we are with SNAP. Earlier she said this last week. Cut number 13.
Of USDA February 13th is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with DOJ and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But, Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken...
Okay, and here's what the spotlight is. 21 states have refused, including most of the big liberal blue states, refused to comply. 40% increase in SNAP benefits. Paying all this money in SNAP. Democrats whining about SNAP. It is a program, one must assume, loaded with illegal immigrants. They told us illegal immigrants weren't getting health care. That has been put to a lie by the way that they've used funds, especially in California and other states, to fund illegal immigrants and other people, able-bodied people that don't belong. Talk to us for a minute, Princess, please, about these entitlement programs, SNAP and the other entitlements.
Well, you have a window into corruption, and it is not a bug, but a feature of the Democrat Party. Yeah, you know, this is their business model. It's a wealth transfer from taxpayers, from hardworking Americans to the constituency groups that Democrats favor politically, including those who have no legal right to be here. And that is just one small agency, relatively. And if you go across government, the U.S. Government Accountability Office, GAO, estimates, and this is on the low end, they say, $500 billion per year is lost to fraud. $500 billion per year. And you know, it is way more than that. That is just in what is, known by their calculations. And so, that doesn't even count the things that DOJ found, which are, corrupt payments. This is fraud where you have people stealing outright and you have Democrat politicians, elected officials benefiting because it's what goes around comes around. The money comes back to Democrats always and forever. So this is, I think that also back to Obamacare, that's one of the problems with extending the premium subsidies is that there is rampant enrollment fraud. That the federal subsidies go directly to insurers; they don't go to the patients, and for phantom enrollees. So you've got millions and billions of dollars going to the insurance companies for people who don't exist or don't even use the system. And that is in every agency.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Your Highness, I want to play briefly. We're going to interrupt the sound bites because they go too long, but I want to cover both of these. One is Eric Schmidt, Senator Eric Schmidt, explaining what the deal is with Arctic Frost. Cut 12, Elias.
For the viewers at home to really understand the scope of this, it really is breathtaking. And I mentioned 100 times worth in Watergate. That may be an understatement. What happened was 3 days after President Trump announced he was running for president, the entirety of government and the Justice Department was weaponized against him to bankrupt him and his family and put him in jail for the rest of his life. So what happened? In Atlanta, a state case was, created to go after President Trump. The number 2 person in that case met with the White House. Alvin Bragg in New York began his criminal trial against President Trump, and the number 3 person left DOJ to go join Alvin Bragg's office. And of course, you have Jack Smith, who's notorious in prosecutor circles as the henchman you assign to go get your person, the show me the man, I'll show you the crime kind of prosecutor. He's a total dirtbag. Brings this case against President Trump. But it wasn't just a war against a man, Peter. This was against a movement. So Arctic Frost was going after not just President Trump, but sitting United States senators with subpoenas. The Republican Attorneys General Association, I happen to be the chairman of that organization at the time, Charlie Kirk's organization, this massive dragnet to sweep up people because they were Republicans. That was their crime.
Okay.
So this is sweeping.
Now that is enough Arctic frost. It is huge. Subpoenas are going out today. CNN report on another operation by the Democrats, Crossfire Hurricane. Here's part of that report.
Justice Department prosecutors have just issued a subpoena to former National Intelligence Director James Clapper, a longtime target of President Trump's, and former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page have also received subpoenas. Sources telling CNN tonight the prosecutors are now moving to subpoena the former CIA Director John Brennan. Caitlin Poland's breaking so much of this. Caitlin, what do you know about these subpoenas?
Well, Aaron, we know that this action from the Justice Department, it's not done yet. Subpoenas have gone out to people, including Lisa Page, Peter Strzok. You remember their names from the FBI investigation in 2016, 2017, and then intelligence chiefs who are either getting subpoenas or expecting to get subpoenas in the coming days. The former CIA director, John Brennan, the former director.
And this is on Operate Crossfire Hurricane. This movement to get Trump with this phony dossier and the corruption on this one goes through the FISA courts. John McCain, by the way, passed that phony dossier around, and others. Would you want to speak to both of these investigations and what's happening, Princess Diana?
Well, it is about time. You know, it is one of the things that our side keeps asking for, some kind of arrest, one Democrat somewhere who has been involved in this amazing, as you say correctly, corruption. And, you know, to attack not only the president, the sitting president, the candidate, the second term, and also his supporters. Now, I think it is less known, Arctic frost, that is actually a species of orange. I think that is basically a sly name by the FBI, Orange Man Bad. So they have an Arctic frost investigation, which was basically all of the people involved to, quote unquote, overturn the election in 2000. If you remember, there were challenges for an alternative slate of electors, which is provided for by our founding documents as a completely legitimate operation, but it was turned into a crime by the Biden administration and especially Merrick Garland, the Attorney General. And he originally approved the Arctic frost investigation of at least 8 sitting Republican senators, plus 160 others, as your soundbite provided, including Republican groups like Charlie Kirk's Turning Point. So this was, as you said, a wide dragnet, and it's one of those things that people haven't really, I think we've all heard about Crossfire Hurricane for years. This one is new, and it is horrifying. Now, it's going to get more attention because the people who were, quote unquote, victims of this literally they have immunity. They cannot be investigated without being told, and they were not told. Merrick Garland specifically, and Jack Smith, the special counsel, told these telecommunications organizations, okay, we have a subpoena for these senators, but don't tell them. Now, that is absolutely illegal because, you know, the elected Congress people have what's called basically, you know, you cannot, the speech clause, they cannot be attacked by another branch of government. So it's one of the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the speech and debate clause, all of these things were violated. But so have so many others. And I'm glad that this is something that's getting the attention of sitting senators. And thanks to Chuck Grassley, who is head of the Judiciary Committee, who brought out all of the documents. And I'm glad it's getting attention. But the rest of the MAGA movement has been under attack and had been under attack for many, many years. Thousands of people have been punished and persecuted, and I'm glad that somehow the attention of elected senators now is going to bring some focus to the whole problem.
Wow. We did a lot. Mission accomplished, except we didn't get to Elon's trillions. We'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
We've got time. He's on his way. Trillion here, trillion there. He'll get
Oh,
there.
I got to send you, James. I have to send you his reply to one of the people campaigning against this, the trillions of dollars that he is making. Elon Musk replied directly to this Senator Roland Gutierrez from Texas and said, "You are a taker, not a maker. All you've done your whole life is take from the makers of the world." I will send you this tweet.
Please do.
Phenomenal.
Please do. Thank you. Princess Di, thank you so much for being with us. We covered a lot of ground. Thank you.
As always, Sir James, thank you so much.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Rhonda?
Beautiful.
Oh, you sitting there listening to girl?
I was listening.
I'm calling Rhonda. Rhonda's like off into Bonnie Raitt land. I'm telling you, it's beautiful, right?
Yes. Well, James, you are a parent. I'm a parent. And I think you probably know what I have learned, and that is that our children did not come with instruction manuals. They did not come with warning labels, and there's a lot you just don't know, and nobody tells you when you are having these kids. There is a lot that parents have to learn on the fly. And one of those lessons for me has been how hard it is to let them go. You know, when you're giving birth, in the delivery room, it feels like you're birthing something the size of a Volkswagen. I'll just tell you. And at that point, nobody is saying this is child's play compared to how you're going to feel when they grow up and they leave. For us, that really became real when our oldest son went to college. I know a lot of parents experience this. The nightly ritual of locking that back door, knowing that the black Toyota was not going to roll home and park underneath the basketball hoop. We were a mess. We adjusted. We got used to it. And then the second one left. And that one did not go to college, but he went overseas, far away from us. He was on an 11-month, 11-country mission trip. When he left, we put up a huge map of the world on our dining room wall, and we used colored yarn and pins, and we tracked the movements of the team around the globe. We were thrilled for him, and yet he was what I called our bottle rocket in blue jeans. He was our adrenaline junkie, the one who sang loudly all over the house. The back door would bang. You'd know who was coming in, loud footsteps up and down. And when all of that left to go overseas, the house got very quiet, and he left a huge hole. Well, then our third son left for college, and it was the same thing all over again. A very quiet and steady presence had left. Well, I don't know about other people's kids, but the Schrock kids have been boomerangs. They go out in the world, they come back for a while, they go out in the world and come back for a while. I finally told my husband, you might as well put a revolving door on the back of the house. And every time it would whoosh, somebody was coming home, somebody was leaving, and we were just spinning. But, we would adjust. Well, last week, the revolving door whooshed again, and we were at an airport saying goodbye, hugs and kisses and some tears and prayers, and someone is off again, and his quiet, steady presence is missed. If anything can stretch a parent, it is that tension of holding celebration and happiness for their advancements and their achievements in one hand, and holding the grief of separation in the other hand. That is a tension that parents live with, and it's hard. I don't think I ever felt so vulnerable as when I became a mother and they left me to go out to school or wherever. When the boys were in elementary, actually, there were times that I would send them to school on the first day of class with a letter for their teachers, and those letters would go something like this. Dear teacher, every day my heart walks into your classroom in a pair of blue jeans with blue eyes and a fine set of rooster tails. Please be kind. Yes, I wanted her to know who was walking into her classroom. that just helped me feel good, and I think it connected with their teachers. But anyway, it spoke to the desire of my heart to keep them safe. And as we know, the world is hard and cruel, and things happen that we can't control that hurt those children. And whatever happens to them is like an arrow that goes through them, and it lands in our hearts. Well, I had to learn that the harm came when I gave in to unhealthy control. You know, I was afraid of rejection on the playground. You fear, cruelty in the classroom. You fear their physical harm. You fear their failing. You fear their own bad choices. And so in that, we can grasp for control. We try to manage all the risks. And when we do that, and I do know this, when we do that, we raise weak, ineffective adults. And if we spare them from all the consequences when they're young, they will face consequences. Life will bring them consequences that are far harder. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. I learned I could not keep them close to me. I could not, when they left to go overseas, I could not keep them close, because had I insisted that they never leave me, that quote unquote love of mine would have been like a gilded cage that kept those birds from flying. And they would have been safe, but they would have been weak, ineffective adults forever on the ground who never had a chance to soar and reach the heights. And that is a cost we could not afford to pay. We want our kids to fly. We want them to go out and be and do and try, and even to fail if they must. And I reflected on this as I was writing. Hasn't failure been one of my greatest teachers? Yes, it has. And it reminded me again that I should not bind and gag one of the most important instructors that my children can have. I should not protect them from all failures, because it will keep them from learning. And again, keep them from being strong and effective. I also learned that control was not the ultimate, that it was influence that I needed. So when I practiced letting them go in healthy ways, I did not insist on control, my influence with them grew. And I saw my husband doing the same thing. So when you have influence, your children will seek you for your wisdom. They will want to know from your life experiences, how to make their choices and decisions. And it's far more relational. They are far healthier, and they will be amazing adults and individuals when they have parents of wisdom who influence them and do not control them. It is a joy to see your grown children moving confidently about in the world. There's so much happiness when they return to your home and your love for a time, and it is a gift to see them flying high and true with those strong wings that they've been allowed to develop. It is hard to let them go and to remain in peace, and I thought about that. I think it was when my second son was out in the world far, far away that I learned that as a person of faith, God could be everywhere on the globe that I could not be. And so I could sleep at night because I knew who was carrying my son. I could sleep at night. I could be happy and actively engaged in what he was doing, even though some of it was dangerous, without fear and without anxiety. I want to add this. There are many other things in life that require us to let go. That can be the death of someone we love, the death of a relationship, the death of hopes and dreams, just sudden and abrupt and jarring season changes, chapter changes, things that we didn't want, things that we didn't ask for, letting go of the past. There is a time to process and consider what has happened, but there is a time when we need to open those clenched fists, even if it's one finger at a time, and begin to let go so that our hands are open to receive something new and something good. When we are driving down the road, if we only and ever look in the rearview mirror, we are putting ourselves at great risk. We're not looking at what is right around us. We're not looking at what is ahead. it is like that with the past. We should consider it for a time, but there comes a time when we need to stop obsessively looking in that rearview mirror and consider that there are new hopes and dreams, new opportunities, new people, and so much good that we're missing out on when we clench the fists and we only look back at the past. I want all of our listeners to find comfort, to know that it's okay to let go when the time is right, and that there is good that is waiting. There is good that will come if we let go and we open our hands and we look for that good.
Amen to that. Rhonda, where can people find your beautiful essay?
Let Them Go, Let Them Fly is on thedailybs.com today.
And where can people find you, Rhonda?
RhondaSchrock.com, SCHROCK.
Rhonda, as always, thank you. Words of inspiration and wisdom. Let them go, let them fly. I love it. Rhonda, thank you so much.
Always my pleasure, James.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.